Hello and welcome to Lesson 5 in this Module 1. It's just increasing in difficulty just a little bit, but you can get through this. So, just for you to check your classwork, again, refreshing about the target here, the learning target. I can use tape diagrams to find an equivalent ratio and given the part-to-part ratio and the total of those two quantities, or when given the part-to-part ratio and the difference between those two quantities. And this will make more sense. Well, you've already done the classwork, but let's take a look at the first example. It says, a county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, there was a total of 192. I'm just going to do some underlining. A total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5, here I'm hearing the ratio language, for every 5 passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickup trucks registered. Okay. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? So we're just focusing on that month. Okay, and we know that the total was 192. Okay, and so let me go back and reread. We've got the ratio. Hopefully you got this. We've got a 5-to-7 ratio, and that was cars, right? Cars to trucks. And so I could do I'm going to do my tape diagram over here. So here's, I know it doesn't say that, but I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here's my 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So here's my cars and here's my trucks. And cars to trucks is a part to part. My whole that they told me was the total. This is my whole, my 192. Okay, so this is a part to part. In the directions, part to part. Those two parts make up the whole. So let's see if we've got, I know my 5 to 7 of the cars to trucks. 5 and 7 is a total of 12. So I could go 12 is the whole to 5. That would be whole group to the cars. I'm just pulling out of this ratio the 5 to 7. And then I could also write 12 to 7, which is the whole group to the trucks. I'm just playing with some of the numbers that they gave me. So maybe I'm not even there yet. Maybe I need to go into the other slides. I'll see. But I know that we break this down into, use the info to write 4 different ratios, describe the meaning. Let me see if I have that on my slide. Yeah. Okay. So you've got this all on page 43 in your student book. So now I'm looking at this slide, but you've got it all on one page. Using the info in the problem, write 4 different ratios and describe the meaning of each. So we just said, we've got the 5 to 7, and that was cars to trucks. I just did that to trucks, part to part. And then we had, I could reverse that and go 7 to 5, and that's just trucks to cars. But then we also did whole was 5 plus 7 is 12 to 5 is the whole bunch, 2, and then the 5 is representing cars. And we could also do 12 to 7, which is the whole group, to the trucks. Now, I only needed to do 4, right? So I got 4 done. And then it says make a tape diagram that represents the quantities in the part to part. So I'm not going to do the 12. I'm going to do the part to part. So I'm going to do this. I just did it on the other page, but I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my car. And then I will do my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my T for trucks. And do I have to do anything? No, I think we're good on that. 5 to 7. Then over to the next page. How many equal sized parts does the tape diagram consist of? Well, total on that, my previous drawing, total equal parts is 12, right? What total quantity does the tape diagram represent? Okay, well, when I go back to the original story, the total told me how many total registrations were in the month of August. Total registrations in August, and when I go back to it, is or I could say R, total registrations. I'm doing my proper English. Are 192. That's what we're looking at. That's the total quantity. Now let's back to what value does each individual part of the tape diagram represent? So we had, I'm looking to see, we had that total equals 192. And then the trucks and cars equaled 7 plus 5 is the 12. Okay, so we're doing the total quantity. So remember how we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this total is the 12. Okay, and then what we're looking at is if I take that, is this, I kind of like, well, okay. If I take 192 and I'm dividing that into those 12 spots, you know, like we've done before with the tape diagrams, how many 12s are in 19? There's 1, 12. I subtract, I'll put a 0 here as a placeholder. So 9 minus 2 is going to give me 7. I bring down that 2. So 72. How many 12s are in 72? I know that 5 times 12 is 60. 5 times 12. So 12 times 6, I think, is my 72. So look at that. What that's telling me is that each one of these is a value of 16, 16, 16, and I just keep writing that into every little, so I have 12 times 16 gives me 192. Okay, so then, so I divided the total, here's the total, into how many total parts were listed, okay, equal sized. F part says how many of each type of vehicle were registered in August? Well, that means that I have my 5. Here's my 5. And those 5 remember they're valued at 16 in each, right? So if I have 5 times my 16, okay, 16 times 5, whoops, 16, I know I've got it. 16 times 5 is 0, 3, there's an 80. So 80, and that's my 5, so those are my cars. And then we had the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 times the 16. The value stays the same of each of those units. And 16 times 7 is a 2, carry the 4, 7 has 11, so I'm ending up with 112 trucks. How many of each other? That's it. So I've got my 80, my 112. I add those together. I get 192. I'm back to the total. So that works out. I think my brain is like excited. It's thinking so hard. Okay. Here we have example 2. We still have this superintendent of highways, and he's further interested in the numbers of commercial vehicles that frequently use the county's highways. He obtains information from the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, for the month. Now we're in the month of September, and finds that for every ratio language for every 14 non-commercial vehicles, there were 5 commercial vehicles, like, hauling stuff around. If there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles, this is where like the reading, it gets to me complicated. How many of each type of vehicle frequently use the county's highways during that month of September? So non-commercial, I'm going to, I know it doesn't tell me to do not a tape diagram. So non-commercial vehicles, and that was, it said for every 14. This will be a long one. Okay, so I know that each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 14. And then there's commercial. So I'll do this commercial right here. And I only have to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, if there were, so I've got my 14 to 5. If there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles, so I'm going to go in here, change my, I've got that, but I just want to get blue. Okay. So see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the same. So when it's talking about more than, there's my more than. It's the part that extends beyond the commercial. If I were right here, those are equal. So this is telling me this is 108 more non-commercial. And that means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units. And I'm dividing that. I know the value of that is 108. So now I do my division. 9 times 1 is 9. I get 1. I bring the 8 down. That's a 2. So that means each of these units is valued at 12. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times the 12 is 108. So now I got to go back and reread. There are 108 more than commercial. How many of each type of vehicle frequently use the highway during the month? How many of each type? So I've got each section equal to 12. So here's my 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. That looks like 72, doesn't it? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 times 12. And I think we talked earlier, that is going to be 60. So 60 commercial vehicles, okay? Then I've got, this whole thing is 14. So 14 times the 12, the value of each of those. So there's an 8 and a 2 and a 4 and a 1. 60, 168 non-commercial vehicles, because I have to figure out this. If this is 108, I know that this part is the 60. I could have just done subtraction too. This is 60. Okay. Again, it looks messy, but you know what? That's my thinking. So we're good to go on that one. Here's this is exercise 1 on page 45 in your student book. And this says the ratio of the number of people who own a smartphone to the number of people who own, so we got smartphone to flip phone, is 4 to 3. If 5, okay, I think I'm going to draw. And sometimes I get ahead of myself. There's 4, and there's the 3. And it said smartphone, and then it said flip phone. Those are my tape diagrams. So if 500 more people, okay, so remember when they say that, more means extra or added at the end. So this little guy right here, I'll get rid of that. This one right here is 500. If 500 more people own a smartphone than a flip phone, how many people own each type of phone? Well, each little chunk or block unit is 500. So this one I have 500 times, and I've got 4 units. I know that 5 times 4 is 20, so I throw that down and I throw these 2 zeros on the end. So I get 2,000. 2,000 people own smartphones. And then I've got 500 times 3, and I know 5 times 3 is 15, and then I add those 2 zeros, and I get 1,000. So 1,500, I should put my commas in there, people own the flip phones. Flip phones. It's 2 words, not one. Okay, we are going through this really, I think, going well. Okay, how about Sammy and David were selling water bottles to raise money for new school or new football uniforms. Sammy sold 5. So I'm going to draw my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Sammy. And then for every 3 that David sold. So here's David. Well, together, so all of this together is 160 water bottles. Okay. And then how many did each boy? So I want to, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You probably know what that is. So I have 160 total divided by the 8 units that I've drawn in my tape diagram. 8 times 2 is 16. So I get 20. That makes sense. 20 times 8 is 160. So if the value of each one of those in the boxes is 20, right? So 2, 4, 6. So this is a total of 60. So David sold 60 water bottles, and then I'm going up here to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 20 is what? 5 times 20. 5 times 2 is 10. Tack a 0 on. And that's Sammy sold 100 water bottles. And the good thing about that is I'm looking at it and you check your work. Together, they sold 160. So I'm looking here and I'm saying, okay, 100 plus 60 is that 160. So then I broke it down, a ratio of 5 to 3, and I've got my 100 to my 60. It works out. We're on a roll. Okay. And the other item, let me get that out of the way. The problem number 3, skip that. We're going to move to 4, and this is optional, which means you don't have to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in for classwork just in case you happen to do it. And this one says there's a county concert. The ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls is 2 to 7. So I'm going to draw that out. Well, I know I haven't finished reading the whole thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throw on one more. So this is the boys to the girls, right? 2 to 7. If there are 250 more girls, so more, as soon as I read that more, I go in and I look at this and I do this because I know that means those are equal, but I know that this segment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units is equal to 250 more girls than boys. And all they want to know is how many boys are at the concert. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I have 250, and I know you know this, divided by 5, 5 times 5 is 25, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Each one of these units is valued at 50, right? Okay, well, all of them are. So that means 50 and 50, that's what they want. How many boys are at the concert? There are 100 boys at the concert. Oh my gosh, yay, we did it. Okay, and that was optional. And then you're going to move into your homework helper. You're going to work on your problem set. There should be a short video and then take your exit ticket. Isn't this fun? Okay. Talk to you later.